And you both play very over-the-top Hollywood characters, right?
What do you mean?
On the show? Yes. Was it hard getting in that mindset, in that place?
No.
So I figured we should start with Kristin telling us why she's wearing gloves.
It's a little bit 50 Shades of cray-cray, isn't it? I'm a germaphobe, and I'm afraid, so I don't touch anything. And then I hand sanitize these, like they're my hands.
Do you have multiple pairs or just
Yes,
the one?
I have them in all colors, except tangerine, which apparently I needed tonight.
And you wore them on the Today Show.
That was a mistake.
Okay.
That was a mistake. I was thrust into a chair, and my publicist was, your gloves, while they were talking to me. I'm like, and it's over. And my mom wrote in from Oklahoma, you're wearing your leather gloves, Kristin. I think you might have made a mistake.
But you don't know what kind of germs they have on the Today Show.
It's NBC. Who knows who's been?
Exactly. So did you guys know each other before you were doing the show on the 20th Century?
A little bit, but not really.
Okay.
I admired Kristin from afar and hoped someday we'd do a musical thing together. I didn't know it would be this or it would be this much fun, but I was hoping for that, but we didn't really know each other.
No, and I had wanted him to do a movie, a really huge hit that no one saw.
Called?
Family Weekend.
Okay.
Yes, thank you very much. It's on all the airport. Thank you. You're the one. I wanted Peter to do it, and he was kind enough to call me and reject me in person, which I thought was a very gentlemanly thing to do. But I've always wanted to work with him, and so here we are.
So you both have probably interesting stories of how you got involved in this show. I know that you have a really interesting story, Kristin.
Oh, yes. To me, it's interesting.
Right.
At OCU, where I went to college, my voice teacher told me, you should do this show on the 20th Century. You're really right for it.
And how old were you?
I was like 19.
Okay.
I didn't even understand what the word narcissist meant. I was like, okay. And then a few years, maybe whenever.
She still doesn't know.
I think that's why we work.
And that's why I'm lucky.
And me too, by the way. And then I did a song called If from Two on the Aisle that Comden and Green wrote on my first album, and I reached out. They were both still alive. I reached out, invited them to the session, the recording session, and they said yes, to my surprise. And we met, and they said, there's a show we wrote, and it's almost like we wrote it for you. You've got to do it. You've got to do it. You've got to do it. And every time I saw Adolf, he was like, on the 20th Century, Kristin, make me a promise. Just promise me. And so.
And did you agree? I mean, had you read the show and thought,
one would have thought that I would have immediately gone home and read it, and I didn't. But then 3 years ago, Scott Ellis said we want to do the reading, and he'd been talking to me about it, and we did the reading, and it was awesome. And I knew, this is what they've been talking about. Holy crap. That's my story. How about you?
My story, I actually worked with Betty and Adolph on the very next show they did after On the 20th Century, A Doll's Life.
How many performances did that run?
Well, we ran about 10 weeks in LA out of town, and we ran about 10 minutes in LA. I mean, in New York once we opened here. It's still on the wall at Joe Allen's, on the wall of flops. And I can promise you, neither Betty or Adolph said to me, we wrote this show that you got to do someday. But I remember seeing the original production, and I was concentrating on Kevin Kline, thinking, someday I might get to play that part.
Okay.
I never really believed I'd ever be old enough to play, John Cullum's part of Oscar Jaffe. But I guess a couple years ago, I was approached about this show with Kristin doing it, and I jumped on it. And it was just a question of when it was going to happen, when you were going to be free, and when the theaters were going to be available. There were some theater availability issues, and it just...
There was a hiccup.
It's okay. That's okay.
We love you.
Yeah.
Don't breathe on us. Do not breathe on us.
We're all human. Get these 3 rose gloves. They all need gloves.
This is what our life has become, Mark.
Really?
And it, you know what? And Scott, who I had known since a 1977 bus and truck of Grease, one of our first professional jobs. He was Duty and I was Danny, Scott Ellis.
What?
Yeah, and he called. We spoke again about many years later and said, "Hey, what about this production? What do you think about this?" And I said, "I'd, walk over broken glass to be part of this production," and it all happened and all worked out. So it's one of those stories that it's not over yet, but it has begun well and is going well.
And did you have to say, okay, like Peter Gallagher, great, let's do it?
It's more like, do I get on my knees? Do I beg? What do I do? That probably didn't come out right, but I meant bowing.
It works for me.
This is why I love him. I mean, everything comes out of his mouth. I love him so much. Yeah, I just was praying he would do it.
And you also have a story about Scott Ellis that he cast you in your first show on Broadway, right?
Yeah, my first show was actually a Broadway play, and which I couldn't believe. It was Scapin, Moliere's Scapin.
Oh, okay.
And then there was this audition for this tall, leggy blonde who needs to sing a high C in Steel Pier, and I thought, well, I got the high C part. And I went in and I met him, and I sang, and he was like, "Thank you." I was crushed. I thought, that's it. That's it. And I went to the Olive Garden. I chowed down. I was like, I'm quitting. This is my part. And All About Eve character in that show. And about a week later, my agents got a call. They want you to come in and sing for Candor Neb and Susan Stroman. They want you to dance. And I was like, okay. That's kind of how I still didn't know if I was going to get it. But when I got that part, our friendship began. And it's like my older brother,
Right.
I don't want to say like my dad. That would make him mad. It would also be impossible. But he is, close to my heart.
Right.
What can I say?
Right. And this show hasn't ever had a Broadway revival, right? On the 20th century.
This is it. Yeah.
Why do you think that is, and why now is this a good time for it?
Start talking.
Well, I think it's not easy to cast.
Right.
You have to find somebody who's can hit those high C's and be funny and beautiful, and then you need also the leading lady. So it's very difficult indeed.
Oscar Jaffe, ladies and gentlemen.
And you know what? I firmly believe success in our business is a miracle. It's really just about at-bats. You go in with the best of intentions, the best people you can, and if you've been around the block once or twice, you realize you're still completely dependent upon good fortune. And anybody who makes the mistake of, if it is successful, feeling that they had something to do with it, is going to just miss the whole
Totally.
boat. And this was an exciting thing because I saw the original production and I didn't remember that was a long time ago. Yeah, I didn't remember that clearly. But the more that we, the people that were assembled from, it's all about the people. And from the very top to every member of our ensemble, you could tell there was just something special and something, the sound, our small ensemble sounded like a voice of 100. And
Remember
and
when we
designers,
first
yes.
heard them sing, he started crying and then that made me cry because we were just sitting there, remember?
Right, the opening number still just kills me. It's just very moving when you see that many talented people working at the top of their craft. And as we were telling the story, there's a religious nut in the play. I thought, oh, that's good. And God knows there's no shortage of those out there in this day and age. And there was just a lot of elements of the story that really rang true, even in terms of how you know, miracles are required for success in our show, as well as
In life.
you know, in the book of the stories, in the book of the show. So it was just one of those things that worked and found a place in the world we're living in.
And you both play very over-the-top Hollywood characters, right?
What do you mean?
In the show? Was it hard getting in that mindset, in that place?
No. No, because I mean, for Oscar, his circumstances are dire. I mean, he leaps onto a train to avoid
Nothing to
people
lose.
trying to kill him, right? and has nothing to lose. So, but there's really, you know, and the more I would study the book, the more impressed I was with Betty and Adolph's work, because there's really not an extra word. And it's all rooted in a kind of reality, and well-observed reality, combined with their extraordinary wit. So it's really all there. And then Cy Coleman's music is, well, you know, you're more of a musician than I, and I'm not used to singing operetta kind of things, but the music is amazing. It's hard. It's complicated.
So sophisticated.
But
it
it's-
matches the comedy.
But it's really wonderful. So you have all these elements supporting each other, fashioned by these people at the top of their game. Okay, I'm
No,
speaking way too much.
I could listen to him all night.
So the funny's already there, or do you feel like you find funny on top of the funny?
Well, the funny's there. I mean, you find funny, but you couldn't. The real funny, you can't find the real funny if it's not residing somewhere in the story,
That's
in the
right.
text. Otherwise, it's
You're just making shit shine.
Yeah,
but we don't have to
exactly.
do that.
You just, slather in it with a little shellac, and it doesn't need that.
But you would obviously work on some bits and find more physical comedy in rehearsals.
Every day.
Okay.
Of course.
We work. We never stops.
That's right.
But it evolves out of trying to either stream. You know, if your attention is on the story and what elements of the story you're expressing in that moment, that's where you'll find the comedy. And it's usually a question of defining whether, the beat is right, or is it too early, or is it too late, or are we really expressing what should be happening? And it's like detective work.
Right.
It's hard. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done. Don't you think it's hard?
This show? Oh yeah.
What are the hardest things in it for you?
I mean, obviously the vocal demands, but also the speaking, because listen to where I talk, so it's not really conducive to my own speaking voice. Also, I think the comedy, the writing is so sophisticated that the minute you start to relax, and it's got its own music, as most things do. This is faster paced, but those slow places you earn and you find out where those are. Every audience is different. You have to be a master listener, as always, but especially in this kind of piece. All of it has to be rooted in reality, or it seems false. You know what I discovered? This show would be, you know how sometimes people make fun of musical theater and, it's just jazz hands and fake, and they break into a song, which really makes me mad. But I understand why some people who don't do it or understand it would say that. Because if it's done poorly, it does reek of the eye roll, right? Mm-hmm. If this were done poorly, do you agree with me? That it could be like, you know what I mean? It's what am I
There are
trying
very
to
few musicals that you can't do poorly.
It's true. It's true. I was just thinking, Kristin, nothing you just said works.
No, that's true. No, that's not true. That's
But
that's
you know
what
what
you're
I
saying.
mean?
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It
Yeah.
could get sticky.
Yes. And so the minute I relax for 1 second, I screw it up.
Do you find new jokes every night, or is it mostly frozen?
It's frozen, but we are still, it's never like the same twice. Do you think?
No, I mean, because it's not a string of. Plus we have, there's so much about what's happening between people. I mean, I have just the time of my life playing with Kristin, and I have the time of my life playing with Mike and Mark, my two henchmen, and everybody, and Mary Louise Wilson, and everybody on that stage is a star.
Oh, Andy Carl, they're all.
Andy Carl, they're all, so you never know if my attention's on you and something's happening and you do something a little different, and that causes me to respond a little differently,
Yeah.
and then the audience responds it's something, you've got a lot of balls in the air all the time, and you can all end up crashing to the ground, or something wonderful happening, but there's the possibility of something good happening all the time.
It's an incredible team.
It's really great team.
We're playing ball.
Really look forward to being on stage with them.
And there's a scene where Andy Karl crunches bicep curls with you, right? How did that sort of come about in rehearsals?
Basically, I told Andy on second day, once I knew I could trust him, because, physical comedy, we all have to trust each other, and I could tell immediately he was aware of his body, he was aware of comedy, I was going to be safe. And, let's face it, if there's a hole, I'll fall in it. That's just how my life's gone. I said, I want you to think of me as a prop. I'm your prop. Maybe you use me like you would use a barbell at the gym. Maybe, he said, could I throw you up against the wall? I said, absolutely. And that's been our credo from day one.
And just one day he said, what if I do this?
Well, I had said to him, I think you could barbell me. When I hear myself say these things, I realize I sound insane. But it's the good kind of crazy, and that I am with a group of people that are that I'm like and they're like me, if that makes sense.
Right, and when he does that, he's going to do it in a way that's not going to hurt her.
No.
And it's going to be, because even just doing these silly things requires a kind of craft.
Yes.
And a kind of, so that you can do it 8 times a week without inflicting lasting damage.
But don't worry, that's true, and he has plenty of his own ideas, that Andy Karl.
Yes.
You blink. I said, you don't want to be on stage with a child, an animal, or Andy Karl. You just don't.
It's true, I know, I'm dying to...
And ML, and Mark and...
I'm right, Mary Louise
Michael.
Wilson, every time she's on stage, Mike and I are backstage, we're waiting for the audience to go, ML for the win.
10.
Will you even bother going out tonight? I don't think so, boys.
Just 10.
So why did it take you so long to come back and do a Broadway musical? I feel like you did Guys and Dolls a long time ago, right?
I did. It's a couple of reasons. It's the musical theaters, there's not a lot of great parts for guys, really. It's kind of like more about the diva and more about the leading actress. And, Sky Masterson was a great role, and I've done a couple of plays since then on Broadway. And, the world that I knew on Broadway, I was saying to you earlier, the last show I did before Guys and Dolls was in Long Day's Journey into Night in '86. And between '86 and '92, the world I knew was gone on Broadway. The one I sort of started with was people were either dead of AIDS or old age, or a whole world changed. And so it was coming back and doing Guys and Dolls it was also a difficult production to be Sky Masterson in, because it was really the director's concept was we felt that Sky and Sarah weren't very funny, and we want to keep them off to the side there. And so I thought, well, that's weird. And so I wasn't really, and nobody was asking me to do anything after that. So.
But I just want to go on record, and he knows this story. I was new to New York, and I saved my money because I couldn't afford the ticket, and I did the back of the house ticket. I think I was doing the Fantastics at the time for like $180 a week or something. That place was so moldy and filthy. Talk about filthy theaters. Sullivan Street. Anyway, I went to see you, and I stood in the back of the house, and I thought, maybe one day I'll get to meet him. Maybe one day. It's interesting. Of course I loved Faith and Nathan, and of course I loved the production. But for me, I thought Sky was funny. Sexy and funny. Oh my gosh, hot and funny. And can sing. And oh my gosh, can move. So then skip to, of course I was just a young thing then.
You're still a young thing, darling. But I love doing that show, and I love doing that part.
You're
I
awesome.
love Nathan and the whole the whole company. But I'm very, very glad to be, and this I'm very happy to be playing Oscar Jaffe because this is another great, great role.
Yep. And Kristin, I was looking back at the last few years, and it looks like there's 3 or 4 years between shows that you do on Broadway. Do you think about that as a schedule, or do things just kind of come up?
I do, because, you know, first of all, I want to really, when I commit to something, I don't do it halfway. I just go all the way. That's how it is with my whole entire life, with every subject. So when I come to Broadway, I want to make sure it's in something I'm really, you know, like Promises. When I did Promises, a lot of people thought, oh, why is she playing that part, you know? But for me, it was, what do you do after the apple tree? You have to do something. You can't. What do you do after the apple tree? You played 4 roles. What do you do after Wicked? What do you do after? You do something that's actually was very close to home for me, but I did it, and I'm thinking about the next thing, of course, but I'm also learning as I get older to really enjoy the moment that I'm in. So many times I look back in my past and I think, did I even know what was happening to me then? It was such a roller coaster ride. I'm more thoughtful about moments and life experience, and I'm having such a moment with this gentleman in this show of pure joy, and I just want to live there. I just want to live there. Because like you said, it's all a miracle.
And it's all about the people.
It is.
You know, I mean, really, when you're lucky to, we live such uncertain lives all the time, and when you get to have a place to go, 6 days a week, and you know what you're going to do, and it happens to be with people you love, we're all, we were making a joke the other night backstage that, I forget who I was talking to about, just we're all oddballs on that boat. I said none of us would be in this building if we were healthy. If we had perfectly, wonderful childhoods, and we're all okay, I'm going to put that in the show tomorrow night.
It's true.
We're all not seeking some kind of family, some kind of connection with, people, and so fortunately there's a place for us to go.
We can seek help on theater.
Yes, everyone, that's right.
When you are sort of out and about in New York, what is the role that people most recognize you each from?
I mean, I never know. It could be Wicked, it could be, Ms. Noodle on Sesame Street, it could be West. I never pushing day. I never know, and I like that.
That they don't say to you?
Oh yeah, they'll be like, I loved you and whatever, and I really appreciate it. Sometimes they'll say, I saw you in Wicked 3 years ago, you're amazing. I'm like, I've been in it in 10 years, but thank you. No, it was you. They'll argue with me. I'm like, no, it wasn't me. They're like arguing. I'm like, go away. It wasn't me. And we're in the Duane Reade, I just want to get my shampoo. But I never really know, and it's really my voice that gives me away. There's a lot of Glee fans out there pushing daisies, and these are shows that I'm so honored to have been a part of. Even GCB, that it was short-lived, it has a cult following. I don't know. It's all different.
Yeah.
It's usually different.
What about you?
I'm happy too that it's often, it's just a wide range of different things. On Broadway things, it's Guys and Dolls, Sky Masterson, because the record was really popular, and a lot of kids coming up now sort of were raised on that record, and so that, and then Sandy Cohen from the OC. Was a big, really popular.
Let's have a moment. Let's have a moment.
And it's also a character I just adored, and I still get posts and letters and texts from kids, or maybe not kids, from people all over the world asking, if I'll schmear them a bagel, or, asking, the help on a test they've got coming up, how to deal with that, or, they Papa Cohen, or. And I've been doing a little bit of SVU, and there's still, I was getting my hair cut a couple months ago, and my head was in the sink, and this lady was next to me. She said, "When are you going to start being a little nicer to Sergeant Benson?" The guy in the subway said, "Pete, I fucking love that character, Chief Dodge. Just give him hell." And togetherness and covert affairs people are loving togetherness, and people like covert affairs. A lot of.
Sex, lies, and
And
videotape.
so,
Come on.
Sex, lies, and videotape.
Classic.
Well, people hated me for that.
I hated you for it.
Look, I had to do I got a job when our kids were my son was just born, and I had to leave town. I waited till my wife delivered our son, and I postponed, and we got there, and we had no money. I've got this gig, and I'm shooting out in Arizona, and my first day off, I go to a baby store to buy clothes, and I'm so excited. I have some money in my pocket, and this woman, her sales lady, oh my God, she's so helpful. She's so kind. I thought, oh my God, you leave New York, and people are so nice, and she's helping me this and that, and this that I'm there paying, and she said, "Do I know you?" And I said, "I don't think so." No, I know you. Well, did we go to school together?
Here we go.
And I said, "No." I went to Tufts University. No, it wasn't that. I said, "I'm an actor. It could be." No, that's not it. I
No.
I said, "Okay. Well, listen, I know you because the minute you walked in here, I took an instant dislike to you." And I was so heartbroken because she'd been so nice to me, And I said, "Well, I did this movie, Sex, Lies, and Videotape."
Ding, ding, ding.
"Oh, you bastard." And she meant it, and I said, well, thank you. So you just never know. But the funny thing is when people argue with you. It wasn't that.
They argue.
Yeah. No, we went to school together.
Are you from
Okay.
Denver? No.
Yeah, but you've lived in Denver,
Your
right?
sister.
All right, but
Yeah.
I watched Sex, Lies, and Videotape in the middle of the night the other night.
Oh, you did? How did it hold up?
you know what? I knew
Amazeballs.
something was up when I saw her in the dressing room the next day. She was looking at me with different eyes.
I was reminded. I'm like,
You watch a lot of television, right?
sad but true.
Okay. What are you binging on now?
Name something.
I feel like mostly you watch reality television, right?
Of course, have you seen on Twitter?
Yes.
I love Dance Moms. I love
Still. How many seasons into Dance Moms are we? Just 4?
I think.
It's got to be
4
more than
or 5.
Okay.
Maybe somebody knows. I'm not sure. I don't care. I rewatch them even. And Real Housewives, not Atlanta, but any other one. What else do I love? I come in and talk to
Do you only watch
Strange
reality?
Addiction, My Strange Addiction.
The one where there are all those heavy people on.
My 600-pound life.
Right.
Okay.
I want to go through the TV and just be there. I just want to be with them. And I don't know. I love it. I love it.
Does she make you watch any of this stuff?
No,
And do you watch any of this?
I
No.
beg him, please, someone so I can talk about the little house people. They're making these little houses, just tiny little houses.
Well, I'm into that. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I'm like, that'd be perfect for me.
I just don't.
I wouldn't have to duck. I would just walk in and everything would feel normal. I could reach the floor, the kitchen's right there. Anyway,
Yeah, I don't get it, but that's okay.
we have so much in common, but I do like trash.
Right. But not like any of these Bloodline,
No, you know
just
what?
mostly reality.
It's mostly reality,
Right.
and then I'll binge. Like, I love Game of Thrones, a diehard Game of Thrones fan, and House of Cards. Thank you. I can't wait. And I also love House of Cards, and I also love Veep. Those are my 3 that are just don't miss. Pretty much anything on Showtime and HBO. I love Silicon Valley.
It's really good.
But I'll binge watch those. I also love like movies like Fury and Unbroken. I love war movies. I'm sort of male, like a male.
It's about the catharsis? Or?
But in my taste, right?
Yeah, no, that's true.
I don't know what it is. I don't know. Have you seen Unbroken?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. I mean, yeah.
It's so good. I'm thinking if that guy can deal with that, I can deal with a cracked
We can totally
rib.
do a matinee.
Absolutely. It was such a good story of hope.
Sometimes that's what you need.
Oh my God, you're so right. I'm like,
I just watched that Adventures of Shackleton in Antarctica. I think I'm ready for the 2 p.m. I can do it.
oh, I love it.
What do you do before a show? How do you spend the day? How do you prep?
Well, it's all built around that day. I mean, you spend the morning pretending you don't have a show. And then you slowly, but everything is built around it. I exercise and get your body warmed up. I meditate. I vocalize and
Spend the morning
look
thinking
what
that you don't have a show.
pretending that you have the night off or something. But
Called denial.
it's its own kind of hermetically sealed, weird world that everything you do is built around contributing to, the possibility of success after the overture starts. Would you say that's accurate?
Amen. I mean, I don't speak.
Right. Well, that's the other thing. Drives my wife crazy. Yeah. Talk to me.
She's like probably tired of the hand gestures.
Well,
I got that board that I write on that.
You write on a board.
Yes.
We have an alphabet she and her best girlfriend made up when they were in like 4th grade, so they could pass, instead of notes, they would do this. So that's how we...
Why
So
don't you teach it to
you
me?
learn this.
I did. It's not ASL, but it's my wife's vocabulary.
It's
And
called.
that's why it works. What?
I want to be a part of that.
It's easy. I can teach you in
Okay.
no time.
And do you do the same kind of thing on your day off? Just sort of don't speak, stay
I do
in bed?
physical therapy every other day because I've had a lot of crap in the past, injuries and stuff. So I got to stay on top of my health. I don't speak. I do physical therapy.
You watch TV.
I watch TV. I'm very exciting. I'm realizing I go to the same diner over and over. Yeah, I just don't do physical therapy. I said that. Yeah, I mean.
I haven't been out after the show yet.
You haven't.
Either.
And
you
this is
don't
one of my favorite things in the world when, working on Broadway is,
Going
I
out
actually
after.
called the place I always go, my habitual place. I said, listen, I'm not cheating on you. I said, we've been wondering where you've been. Is everything okay? I said, well, no, I've been having some trouble with them and I have not been talking. And I think maybe in a couple weeks I'll be able to go out, maybe on a Thursday night. I'll call you. Fine.
I'll call you. It's impossible. There's just no life, but the life is good.
This is a big show.
It is huge. It's a beast.
It is a beast.
And do you have superstitions every night or even opening night that you kind of take into account?
You always come in and say, have a good show, and we hug, and we look at each other and go, oh my God, how are we going to get through it? This is so hard. But then we end up just always having fun. Right? We have our little moment. I pray before every show while he's singing. I'm back there going, oh dear Lord, help me
Don't
get through
screw up. Don't screw up. Come on, Peter.
it. You got it. I do that. That's what I do.
And what's the kind of craziest thing in sort of, I guess, new age sorts of stuff, either vitamin drips or wellness formula or things like that you sort of take part in sort of the Hollywood scheme of
I meditate.
You meditate. That's not so strange.
I do I've had some health issues which have been unusual for me in this. And so I have a couple of doctors that have been really wonderful and seeing me through this, just vocal things. And I do a wacky kind of drip that's sort of vitamins, but also kind of this glutathione, which is a big thing in your vocal cords. But really, it's a lot. It's all about your health. Because if you're not, I tore a little bit of my quad and and it's like ridiculous. You sound like it's too embarrassing to even talk about.
We can bond. I'll be like, oh, my rib, you're like my head, like my back, my knee. It's what it is.
Right, and then they call it doctor theater. You're like you getting there in the thing, and then boom, ready, okay. And
It's true.
And you don't know how you're gonna hit that high note tonight because you got inflammation on the cords, you got this, you got that, and then you get there, and then as soon as the curtain's down,
We do it both that. We do have that.
No, it's right. As soon as the curtain comes out, how you doing? Did you make
I'm
it?
exhausted.
Yeah, I don't
Rest.
know.
Don't speak.
God, okay.
We just
okay,
go back.
Wait. Did you see the train smoke? Yeah, it was hanging
my
home.
God,
I could
it's
feel it in the back of my
They
pants.
have an anthrax mask on. Should we be nervous? You know, we have a scene where we eat. We eat in the show.
Okay.
And every night I look into Peter's eyes, and I know he's looking at me because we're trying to figure out when we're going to swallow. Because we always talk, and then eat. And then I'm thinking, I am listening to you. I am, obviously. But I'm thinking, swallow. And then think about it. If you tell yourself to swallow, just try.
You can't do it.
Like, something stops. And then I spend half the song like, there's a piece of the grape skin in the back of my throat. And one night he was singing and like something came out and I looked on the floor and it was grape skin. It was your grape skin. But I do it too, so.
But the great thing about grape, because staying hydrated.
Here we go.
You can't sing that stuff dry. And the theater is very dry, especially during the winter and with the smoke and stuff. And so, in a way, it's like I see those grapes and it's like, oh, thank God.
Yes.
And so I'm like eating those grapes and this will get us through. You've got it all.
It's so true.
Has this experience made you think of other things you could do together in the future?
Well, it has me. I don't know. I can't speak for Peter.
Yeah, I think about, I'm more of a short-term guy. I'm thinking, okay,
Straight.
Tuesday's good.
Straight guy.
I think the matinee is going to be fun too. And,
I want to
yeah,
do something.
I
I want to do like a movie or a TV show with Peter,
that would be great.
and something where we sing.
Okay.
I'd do anything with Kristin. I love working with Kristin. I look forward to it.
I know. I love him.
Do you approach sort of movie and television projects differently now that you've both been doing all of these different mediums for a long time? Like, what would make you want to do? What makes you want to do something?
For me, it's all about the part and the people.
Right.
It's there's nothing I love more than the other part people all talk is American Beauty, is that the king of real estate is the thing, and there's the well,
You were so great in that movie.
I was wearing Cary Grant's wig. I was, but
You were.
it's all about the part and the people, and
And what inspires you, right?
yeah, and early on, I kind of felt that I'd rather have a small part with people I really wanted to be with, in a story I'd really be proud of, than a
Me too.
bigger part that I'd, because I've had because I just love, it's like I love rehearsal as much as I love performance.
Me too.
I love unraveling it.
The process.
I love being part of the team, and it's like the new Sunday Times puzzle.
Crossword puzzle.
Is sort of breaking it down and discovering what the gold in
How
there.
much fun did we have in rehearsal? I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, we laughed. We would laugh constantly. I mean, and I think Scott really set that tone,
Yeah,
the
he
director.
did a wonderful
Didn't
job.
he? I mean, we just had so much fun.
Right, he created this great environment and had a very clear vision of the show, but he didn't impose a specific kind of concept that would limit us. So as a result, all of us feel a great sense of ownership in the characters we've developed. So which allows it to grow as you continue to do it, because one's not coming from, okay, here's what your character is. There was none of that at all. We were there to discover what the characters could be.
Maybe it's this.
Maybe it's this, and what story are we telling? And so you can't do much without, a great script and a great director and a great cast and all those elements.
Just all like a puzzle.
Right, it is, and then when something doesn't work, you have to sort of figure out, that was working, why it's not working, and and there are new people there every night.
Who tell
And none
us.
of us are the kind of folks that feel they can phone it in,
Absolutely
so
not.
which is another added pressure, because you're like,
It's like every night's opening night,
Right.
or every night's the first time you
I
do it.
know, I'm backstage about to go do something I've done a million times already, and say, why are you such a wreck?
Yeah, me too.
Why are you so worried about
Me
this?
too,
Come
me
on,
too.
yeah. I mean, you're going to be doing this when you're 94, and you're like, oh my God, I hope I remember that. And so just get out. But it's just really just about how much we care, really, about
That's right.
about it.
We care. And I also think that, for me, I bet you're the same. If I know a part, this is how I know I have to do a part. If I know that I would watch it or sit in the audience and be mad that I wasn't doing that, then I know I have to do it.
Is there anything that you regret saying no to career-wise for a part like that? No.
No, not yet.
I've repressed all those.
And is there any TV show that you guys were on that you wish was still going, that you wish you could sort of just drop back into? Would it be The OC for you?
Well, the OC only ran 3.5 seasons. That would have
It
been nice.
doesn't seem like it. It seems
know.
like it ran for 10
Well, we did
years.
because we did like 27 episodes the first year, so there was a lot. But everything has a lifespan. You could spend. There's no point in crying in your
truth.
beer about. We were very lucky that it worked, and I love next. I love being surprised by what's around the corner. I love working with my buddy Dennis Leary on Rescue Me. I love the longer you've been around the block, the more people you've worked with, and I see these lovely relationships I have with a lot of people. I miss the people we lost Mike Nichols this year, and I was very close to him, and there's and that makes me sad, but all the time. But I'm really grateful for all the things he taught me and all that he sort of, all the conversations we had, and I still hear his voice. I still hear Jack Lemmon's voice. My wife says to me before I go every night, "Magic time," which is what Jack would say that before every entrance. He'd say, "Magic time." And, so I feel very lucky to have these characters, Betty and Adolph, Cagney. I worked with Cagney. A lot of these characters that are no longer with us, that are still very much alive in my psyche. So
Sometimes I just want him to talk because I learn. I mean, he's worked with the best of the best. But truly, to hear him tell stories, we walked in tonight, Marshall, and you were there, and they were talking about Truman Capote and his relationship here, and he's like, I knew him a little. I'm like I just, it's just cool. That's all.
Yeah, I just talk too much.
No, you don't. I love it.
I gotta learn to shut up.
No, don't
You're
ever.
being very kind.
Don't ever shut up. Don't.
She says that now.
So you're not at all tired of each other yet?
No.
I can't answer for him, but I'm not.
Yeah.
No. We don't. Look, I see you as a civilian for like 3 minutes, and then I see Lily Garland for
I'm so
2.5 hours, which is wonderful. And then we got to go back on vocal rest.
But we rehearsed. We rehearsed how many months together?
That's true.
And we were together a lot. And then we email a lot. And well, again, it's like, how's your back? How's your rib? How's your throat?
I know. Where can I touch it today? No, that rib's no good.
That's no good there.
And do you tweet at each other too, and
Well,
direct Instagram message?
A little bit. I'm the worst at that stuff. I haven't updated my Facebook since first day of rehearsal, I don't think, and I don't have. I just, you're better at all that stuff. I do
Good
it a
at
little
Twitter,
bit.
but
I'm very into
sometimes
Twitter.
I like Twitter, but I need to get better at the rest of it. I'm trying to get on Insta, get more in that. But
What?
Instagram.
Oh yeah, there's that too.
Because my niece told me
it's like
I was
all these
old.
things. All these things like, oh, there's something else I'm falling down on. Okay.
Facebook, okay. But Peter, you do need to get better. I get kind of tweeted him for a while, and then I was like, he doesn't even see it.
He doesn't see
I know,
it. You don't get the alerts.
I know. I know. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So that's something you can sort of learn.
My daughter says the same thing.
I'd like for you to work on that, please.
I will. There's a lot of people that, not a lot of people, but
You tweeted about tonight.
I did. I sometimes cram.
I was so proud of you.
I did a bunch of favorites.
Oh, I see my name. Favorite. Oh, there's me again. Favorite.
No, actually, no. Actually, no. When people sometimes I have like real conflicts about. I can't. That's so boasty. I can't retweet that.
Oh,
That's
please,
like
I do. I'm
blowing
like,
my
favorite.
own horn.
Do
And I
it.
realize half of it's all about blowing your own horn, which
Yeah.
is not. I don't know.
Well, Birdman. I mean, that was what Birdman was about.
Exactly. Well, I like talking about food on there. Like last night I was watching the Donut Showdown on the channel. See, here we go. The Donut Showdown on the Food Channel, which was amazing, amazing. Yeah, I love tweeting about. I don't really like tweeting about the business. I really like tweeting about where I like to go to eat or shop, a new store. That's interesting to me.
Right.
It's not interesting.
Do you feel like it helps get butts into seats too?
I think that's a myth.
I don't know.
I don't think it does it.
I bet there's somebody out there going, like the Imitation Game, yes, that group will come. I have no.
I think it's a number that maybe publicity departments and press offices and so on, because it's a number. Oh yeah.
They can see that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we need more of that. But I don't know if the people who are busy tweeting are the ones who buy tickets or tune in.
Some of them.
Some of them, I guess.
Are young. They're all like, we're sitting right here. Look, there they are.
Well, obviously I'm wrong about that too. So I'm just trying to justify the fact that I don't do it right.
And do you read all the comments that people make to you, or
I love the mean ones. They're
Okay.
so fun.
what's the meanest one you've had recently that was really good?
Oh, this actually wasn't mean. It was a compliment, but it was funny.
Like,
The man goes, "Oh, she'd be considered hot if she were tall." And then her voice ruins it. I know. Oh.
so you retweeted
And I wrote
that
back.
one?
I was like, I know. It's annoying. My voice. It is. I don't know. I think it's
What voice is annoying?
Please, have you heard me speak? Hello. I love him. It's my voice. I really want to have some balls in it, but it's just not. I try, but but yeah, I love the mean tweets. What was the one the other day? Oh God, somebody was like, "Oh, it's like Tales from the Crypt, really pretty from behind, and then she turns around."
Oh my God.
I gave them points. I was like, "That's pretty good." I don't care.
That's funny.
I mean, you get to where, of course I care, that's
Yeah.
a lie, but you get to where you have to laugh. 'Cause
Right.
I mean, it's
Or you just avoid it.
denial.
Okay, so this question is, we have some questions from the audience and live stream and social media. We've been talking about that. This is from Twitter, from Vanessa Chu, for both of you. What are your warm-up routines?
Well, I warm my body up. I do like a
Suzanne Summers workout. Yeah.
And I wear the same tights, and they're awesome.
Don't say tights. That will totally ruin my vision of you.
Get used to it. And then stretch, meditate, vocalize, put on my makeup, put on the mics, throw on my shirt. Then I run upstairs and hang out with you for a few minutes and check in. And then I run across the hall to see the boys, Mike, Mark, and Andy, and then whoever else I can bother on the way up or down the stairs, the porters, the cast, and go back in and throw on my scarf and run back out backstage to hear the audience respond to the porter's opening number. And then I say, "All right, let's play ball."
Let's do it.
And then it's showtime.
I mean, it's not that dissimilar. I do try to do a lot of physical therapy. I do lots of neck stretches and squats and stuff because I have to high kick. I have to dance more than I've had to in a while. Move and warm up my voice. I do that.
Is there a specific warm-up you do with your
Tons of
voice?
scales.
Okay.
Tons of scales. Speaking actually in that place of the character helps because you don't want to talk like this and then walk out there and just getting in that sensory memory. Putting on my makeup, I begin to feel like her. Once the wig's on, I'm good.
I wanted to know also, do you know people in Hollywood who are like the characters you were playing right now?
Hello?
Well, my character's sort of a Broadway character. I don't know. I mean, I'm not that that's really around anymore. I mean, I always, you know, in a way, because Hal Prince directed that original production, and he was the first really big impresario director that I'd ever worked with who was, but he's, you know, he's larger than life, but he's also pretty down to earth, so I don't know if that's a...
I want him to come see our production.
Yeah, he almost never comes to see
Shows.
productions of
Things he's
that
done.
he's done.
Tweet him, maybe. No?
Dear
I
Hal,
want to go visit him. I haven't seen him in a while.
I'd like to.
Okay. Do you feel the role of Lily provides the platform to highlight successful women in today's climate of renewed interest in feminism? If so, what line best illustrates that?
Well, she's pretty independent. You tell Andy, it says, you're not going to tell me, you know, she is
I'll
good
do
about it.
exactly as I please. You have nothing to say about it. This may be why I'm single. In fact, I'm sure it is. I think that one of my favorite telling moments about Lily Garland, well, I love her. I love Mildred Plaka, I should say. I guess Kristin Chenoweth, you know, I came from a little town in Oklahoma and came to New York, and I didn't know what I didn't know. It's like I didn't have fear. Now I'm much more fearful. You know what I mean, Peter? It's like now I'm scared to death. But I didn't know what I didn't know, so I think Mildred
Thank God,
Plaka was like that.
we never would have shown up.
It's true. And then Mildred Plaka, I think, didn't know what she, you know, she's just trying to make a buck and survive as a pianist. She believes in herself. And then the boys sing, you know, about being with an independent woman. And I will tell you that it is hard for women. I'm sorry, here I go. They asked the question. It is hard for women in this business. First of all, we get paid less. If we're strong and we say what we need, we're
She's
considered
not
a
getting
bitch.
paid less. We're all getting paid less.
True. But on a whole, you know,
Yes. Yeah, it's
ageism, you know, I just found out the other day, apparently I'm old. So, you know, I feel like strong women like myself, we have to change that. I don't know that it will happen soon, but, you know, women, we just have it harder. And I don't want to cry in my soup, though. I'm not a victim either. See, there's that independent woman thing coming out. So I'll just continue to keep following my journey and path, and I'm lucky that I can make a living at what I love. Not every person can do that, and I love it. I truly love it. But it takes a special, you know, guy to understand, and I think a lot of women in my position have struggled in that area. Why am I talking about my personal life?
Well, did you and Jennifer Lopez talk about this on the set of your movie?
I mean, I want to remain, you know, very mum with all my conversations with anyone like that, but for certain, think about it. If you're a single woman and you're in show business and you've had either divorced or been married or not almost to the altar a couple times, you know, it's kind of viewed like, and especially if you're funny, because that's a very masculine thing to be, is funny. And sometimes I find myself doing things so that everybody feels comfortable. You know what I mean? I don't want to divide the audience. I want men and women to both understand me, and especially in a forum like this, for even, or a talk show or a concert. But the truth is, I am independent, and I've come to understand that that is okay. And I try to treat people with respect, but I will say my opinion. And for a long time, I was afraid of that because I thought it would come across as bitchy. But now it's all in the delivery. It's all in the delivery. And there's always the right way to say, that can't happen again, or, oh my gosh, I loved when, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm still learning. I'm still growing and evolving as a woman. And getting to play a woman part and not a girl is awesome too.
Good. All right, for both of you, are you personally fans of 1930s screwball films or plays, and if so, which are your favorites and why?
I love the movie of On the 20th Century, that's for sure. John Barrymore and Carole Lombard.
Me too. Crickets.
Okay.
Crickets. I love it all. I love the period. Obviously, we have an affinity for it. You know, we can hear it. I love the 30s and 40s movies. My grandparents watched it, so therefore I was watching it. My parents love that music.
Great clothes.
Cole Porter, come on.
Great hair.
Yeah. Glamour.
Great gags.
Yeah. Oh, you know what?
Great writing.
Dirty had not been injected into our comedy yet, nor had Mean really. So Dirty and Mean had not really been, and it's all about maybe a look or a gesture or the moment, and I like that. I can get dirty and mean too, but I like this.
This is Lucia from Livestream, and I'm going to add something on top of this question. She asks, do you have any advice for an aspiring musical theater performer? But I'm going to ask also, what would you tell your sort of 16-year-old self now, if you could sort of see your 16-year-old self? So maybe try to do both.
If you can see yourself doing anything else, I've said this before, go do it. If you're happy doing that, go do that thing, because this is hard, hard, hard. But if you cannot see yourself doing anything else and being happy, then you should go for it, no matter what.
And would you tell your 16?
Yes, I would tell myself that. I would tell anybody. I still tell kids that. Don't let anyone say no to you. If you really want to do this, go for it. But if you think you might want to have a backup, I never thought about a backup plan. If you're thinking about, listen, as a parent, he's going to kill me right now. But I think if you can see yourself doing it, then you're not in it 100%. It's hard enough. You know, but if you can't see yourself doing anything else, by all means, look, listen to me talk. I'm 4'11". I am an oddball. By no means should I be in this business or have ever had any success, ever. My parents can't sing a lick. They don't even know. They should never sing. They are the ones that, I mean, you want to do ballet, okay. They're chemical engineers. But there was nothing going to stop me, nothing. I knew this was my calling, if you will.
I agree with everything she said. I just add that 90% of life is showing up, and just keep showing up. And if I said anything to my 16-year-old self, I'd just say it's going to be okay.
Aww.
It's going to be okay. Just trust yourself.
That's beautiful.
And also that there might be a huge market for reality television. You might want to think about getting in that business.
Oh yeah. So I would, I've been approached about doing my own, and I would be probably I'd be the most hated person because I have I have Tourette's. I clearly cannot edit myself, and I think I would get in trouble a lot, honestly. I would be in trouble.
I thought you'd make some really good stuff.
I'd love to. I mean, oh yeah. Constantly thinking that way.
Yeah.
Constantly. And things I want to produce too.
Yeah. Should we do one more from here? Some of them are hard.
You're so cute.
That's hard too.
Oh God, thank you for not giving us the hard ones. Thank you.
Okay, so this is like maybe a good way to end even. In regards to your acting career, what lesson did you have to learn the hard way that you wish someone told you before you had to struggle?
There's so many. It's like.
Both our kids have joined the circus, and
they're talented.
And they are, and I love them, and they're really great kids. And our daughter is a singer and a songwriter, and
amazing.
And our son is a director and a writer, and And I read something that Barbara Cook, the wonderful singer, and would say to her students when she would teach master classes. I'd never taken one class from her, but I read it and I thought it was such a powerful notion that, you know, and the notion is that you are enough. You know, as you can aspire to be, you know, influenced by other great artists and so on and so forth, but the notion that you'd have to be them, or that, you know, that you're not enough, and you have to, the notion of you are enough is a really empowering, wonderful idea. And from that position, you can really, really take off. And I guess I'd say anything that is find great teachers. I've always had great, great, great teachers. I still have great teachers. I studied with my last acting teacher for 25 years. And you know, she finally died at the age of 99. And I'm still looking for another acting teacher. But I'd say that.
That's nice. What he said, and also it's a little cynical, but again, I'm going to go for it.
Go for it.
I think that there's a thing of when you're starting out that, oh, I got an agency was interested in me. And my dad used to tell me, because he's a pure business guy, Peter knows that, I mean, he's just all about business.
Okay.
He's like, no, they work for you. They're lucky to have what you have to offer. I'm like, well, that's effed up. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm needy and I need to have validation. I would say that you are enough in that very same thing, that what you have to offer is unique to this world. There is nobody else like you, any of us. We can be similar and have different, you know, oh, she reminds me of that person, or there's that guy in him, or whatever, but we're still singular and original. And embrace that originality, embrace that short girl with a high-pitched, squeaky speaking voice, and embrace the tall, handsome man from the Midwest. Embrace who you are. Embrace the things that make you different or what make you special.
As Oscar Wilde said, be yourself. Everyone else is taken. I think it was Oscar Wilde.
It was.
Huh?
I think it was too.
It was too.
I think it was.
Well, thank you all very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Go see On the 20th Century.
Thank you, Marshall.
Thank you, Marshall.
Thank you.
Marshall
Marshall
Heyman.
Heyman.